All right, another episode of Blues and Beyond, and we're joined today by one of the finest up-and-coming stars of the Chicago blues scene, Mr. Guy King. All right, Guy, what's up, man? Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
I've been following your career since you first got here, and saw you a lot with Willie Kent.
Yeah.
Great Willie Kent. You were a member of his band for a number of years, weren't you?
6 years.
6 years with Willie Kent. Willie Kent was a great Chicago bass player, singer, and band leader. Started out in Chicago in the early 60s.
Came here in the 50s.
In the 50s, yeah. Okay. And, how old were you when you started with Willie?
I was, how old was I? 23, I think.
Wow.
22, 23.
Yeah. So, how did you end up getting the gig?
With Willie. Well, I first, I came to town and hit a couple of the jam sessions around.
Right.
And I remember going to Legends, to Buddy Guy's Club, and to Rose's Lounge. And after a couple of weeks, I was asked to play, to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat in, and Aaron Burton and Lil Max Simmons were doing the jam at Rose's on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me to sit in, and I sat in, and they were like, "Hey man, you want a gig, man? I want you to play with us." So then I got to play with Mac and Aaron, and then actually a French magazine, Soulback, one of the reporters came to town and saw me play with them and asked me if I knew Willie, and I said I've heard of him, but I never had the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah.
So they took me to see Willie at Blue Chicago downtown and introduced me to him, and I loved it. I walked in, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I like that, this is powerful.
Yeah.
So we started talking, we took really a liking to one another.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable with him, he felt comfortable with me, and he knew I played, so he asked me to come by and sit in one day, and I did, and he was very good to me, I didn't know a lot of people, so he told me anytime you're not working, you're not playing out, just come. I'm here on Mondays at Blues, I'm at Blue Chicago on Wednesday and Thursday. I leave your name at the door, you can come in and see what we do and learn the material. And then I received a phone call a little bit later telling me that he had room for me and he wanted me to join the band. And that was that.
That's great. And who were some of your main early influences back in your early 20s?
Kind of the same ones that I have now.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it didn't change much.
Yeah.
Some were added, but the ones that I like, I still like. I would say Albert King, B.B. King, Albert Collins, T-Bone Walker. My biggest influence will have to say Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm.
In recent years, got very, very deep into Wes Montgomery, Harold Garner, Jimmy McGriff, Oscar Peterson, Charlie Parker. So
Right.
the range kind of.
Right, so like so many blues guys, you've kind of been stretching out into jazz.
Of course, the Chicago guys, Muddy Waters, Otis Rush, Howlin' Wolf, but coming here, I was way into the more southern, the more poppin' stuff, maybe not as raw, but BB with the horns and Albert and the more swinging.
Right, and that inspired you to start the Little Big Band.
Yes, it did, and of course Ray Charles had a lot to do with that as well.
Right.
Ray's early recordings.
Right, so I know you cover a lot of Ray.
Yeah, I love
And that's bold, man. I mean, you do it well.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
That's treading on sacred ground.
It is.
And,
It is.
Yeah.
It took me long. I used to listen to him so much, even as a kid, because his stuff is known everywhere.
Right.
That's one thing I like about Ray. It's not that you don't have to be a blues fan to know who Ray Charles is.
Right. Right.
So everybody heard something by Ray. If it's I Can't Stop Loving You or Georgia, or the more bluesy stuff, country, he touched so many genres that. So I listened to him so long and just was so I ate, slept, woke up to Ray Charles.
Yeah.
So after a while, I was, as he said, bold enough to try to do something by Ray Charles, and one thing led to another.